Check 1, 2. Hello, Los Angeles. So I know I can't hear you, but if you're in right now and you just want to hit any of the reaction buttons, give me some of those reaction buttons. I'd really appreciate it. If I see a bunch of reaction, okay, wait, I saw a reaction. Please, everybody, give me some reaction buttons. Let's see what we got. I bet you they're coming up. Oh, there we go. Thank you. When I'm done with songs tonight, I really appreciate that. If I look over and I see, the hearts are my favorite. Thumbs up are good. Wow is good. I like those. Sad, I don't know. I guess it depends on the piece if sad would be good or not. There we go. Thank you. I see Andrew McGowan there. Andrew, man, I appreciate you. I see, there we go. Awesome. I think if you do that, that's good for the algorithm if you guys are doing that. Facebook thinks that you should show this to more people. All right, let's get started here. Andrew, do I say that Bonica? Is that right? Great to see you. What's up, Lori? Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for coming in and listening. The piece that I just played there was actually a combination of two Robert Johnson songs. And it was the only piece that those two pieces were the only two pieces that Robert Johnson ever recorded in drop D tuning. Now, if you're familiar with Soundgarden, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all that grunge music from the 90s, they were using that. Drop D was basically the standard tuning of Seattle in the 1990s. One thing about Robert's music that you'll see as we go through the night is that he used several alternate tunings. Within each tuning, he had sort of distinct sets of chord voicings that worked with certain riffs, etc., which means that some of his accompaniments he was using to play more than one song. So as I was saying, that one I just played, Robert Johnson used for Malted Milk and Drunken Hearted Man. We're just going to get the guitar in standard tuning here. Pretty good. If anybody's not clear on it, I want to explain. Look at this motorcycle. Now, I'm going to see if I can get good at pointing. I think, no, I have to point the opposite of what I see. Look at this motorcycle guy, but he's right there. Hi, motorcycle guy. I'm going to touch him. Ding. Oh, no. He went. You see? I scared him off. Okay, now we're driving again. Here we go down the road. I want to explain exactly what's going on with this virtual world tour. So, like all musicians in the entire world, about 5 weeks ago, all my gigs were canceled. Everything. I didn't see that coming. Gigs come and go, but not all of them. And then they aren't replaced by anything. That's strange. So I started busking online. Long story short, the reason you'll actually go, the reason to actually go on the road on tour is, you're not playing the same market all the time. Now, a lot of people are busking on, here we are on Periscope and Facebook and YouTube. Most people are busking, they busk in their own time zone. That's what you'd think, right? Well, I did that for about 4 weeks. And what I'm doing now, essentially, I'm going to tell you the long story short here. Over the course of the next 17 days, which is day 4 out of 17, I'm on a 25-hour day schedule. And the reason which is nice, it means that I kind of wake up an hour later and go to sleep an hour later every day. And what's cool about that is, say, Beijing, China, for example, they're 12 hours off. So if people in that time zone, if I'm busking at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast of North America, that would correspond with 5 o'clock in the morning in Beijing. It's unlikely that that's the time that they're going to want to enjoy a concert. So the virtual world tour, what's going on here is every day for the next 17 days. I'll explain this part here. Generally speaking, I'm busking online an hour later every day. That's the principle. Now, there's certain time zones that are basically just water. There's no major cities. So I'll tell you, because I looked into this, there's 17 time zones on the planet that have major cities in them. And I'm playing in all of those time zones. So no matter where you are in the world, I'll be, either I already played in your time zone at 8 p.m. or I will be playing in your time zone sometime in the next, 14 days. I guess there's 14 days left, whatever it is. So there you go. And what I'm playing on this tour is all Delta blues music. I am significantly influenced by Robert Johnson. I can say that for sure. I was into his music and his techniques and his styles going back to my late teens. The one thing I'll give you a heads up on is I've done this thing with this an amazing singer named Nancy McCullum, where we performed the complete works of Robert Johnson And we did it as authentically as we could. We did that a couple of times. We also released an album called Delta Blues that has, 10 or 12, whatever it is, some of Robert Johnson's pieces. Here's two distinctions I'm going to make about what I'm doing on this tour that is different than what I did with Nancy. The first thing is, certain songs, like that first song I played, there's two different songs that have that type of an accompaniment, and each one has distinctive fills specific to that song. What I did there was I combined those two arrangements because they have a lot of the same chords, meaning that I have a wider set of fills to work with. The other thing I'll mention, Steve Vai. I took a class with Steve Vai online, and long story short, he said that I sounded like that I had spent decades working on playing a whole bunch of styles authentically, and that I should stop doing that. That I had done enough of that, and what I should do is start playing things, like me. So. Still is a lot authentic here, but the difference is when I played these with Nancy, I was very careful not to play anything that Robert Johnson wouldn't have played. I didn't want to use any more modern techniques or idiosyncrasies from my own playing. Well, that's out the window. So you'll definitely get some idiosyncrasies here. 2 nights ago, I was playing for Chicago. So in that spirit, I'm going to play a tune for you here. This is Robert used this accompaniment for 2 songs. One was When You Got a Good Friend, and the other one was Sweet Home Chicago. So this is my arrangement of Sweet Home Chicago. When I finish songs, if you guys want to shoot some reactions, I think that's the way we could translate. Normally I play for an audience and you finish a song and there's thank you all. Thanks for those reactions. I appreciate them. Again, if you enjoy the music you're hearing and you give me, there's a couple things you can do. The completely free thing is you can just come and listen, and when I finish songs, give me reactions. That's good for the algorithm. I see Ben Cable. What's up, Ben? How you doing? Great to see you. Thank you. I think that Facebook likes that when there's reactions, so that they'll show it to more people. Okay. Next tune. Robert Johnson used this accompaniment. This is this accompaniment for "Kind-Hearted Woman." It was the first song that Robert Johnson ever recorded in the recording studio. But I'm sure that he really loved this accompaniment pattern because he used it for a whole bunch of songs. I'll tell you what they were. So, like I mentioned, "Kind-Hearted Woman." That's the basis for my style. Sort of the that's like the template, is "Kind-Hearted Woman" for what I'm doing here. But he also used a lot of these chords and riffs, and that I borrowed from these other songs where he was using those chords and riffs. I'll tell you, we go Phonograph Blues, 3220 Blues, Dead Shrimp Blues, Honeymoon Blues, Little Queen of Spades, Steady Rollin' Man, and Me and the Devil Blues. Again, the first one he used this for was Kind-Hearted Woman. Here's Kind-Hearted Woman, Los Angeles. right, a couple things. First of all, I saw a notification here, and Andrew McGowan. Thank you very much for the generous tip there. Appreciate that. This is it's fun. It's fun to play for fun. I get that, but the coronavirus is a little strange for me because I haven't had a non-music job since 1989. So all my gigs disappearing was kind of terrifying. I also wanted to mention, first of all, I see Steve Snuffer came in the room. What's up, Steve? I see Jimmy Ward. But there's two people here. There's a connection. So I want to mention my lifelong friend who is now deceased, Mike McGowan, and Lane Cable. Thank you so much for. I love what Lane Cable is saying. Everyone invite two people. That's awesome. Yeah, if you could. First of all, when I finish tunes, thanks for the reactions, and if you can invite people, that's even better. I appreciate that. But what I was saying about Mike McGowan is Andrew is Mike's son, and Lane Cable there. You may remember Mike McGowan. So there you go. Both of you knew him, and Mike was awesome. I wish. Look, I'm agnostic. I don't know what I believe about. I know that I don't know what happens in the afterlife, but I would love to believe that Mike McGowan is listening right now. When I can get myself to believe that, I think I play better. So, the next piece I'm going to play, Robert Johnson only used this accompaniment for one song ever, and it's the only song he ever recorded in standard, in the key of G, in standard tuning. The Rolling Stones, certainly when you think of classic rock and Cream and Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones and more, Canned Heat, I think everybody, they were all playing these Robert Johnson pieces. The next one I'm going to play, the Rolling Stones covered, and it's called Love in Vain. I'm going to do my own thing up front. That's Steve Vai's influence on me, because I could just play it authentically and start it just the way Robert Johnson did. But I don't do that anymore. I want to, everything that I play, I think it's going to be authentic enough. Again, what Steve Vai said, it sounds like you spent decades being authentic. So here's a little introduction that I'm thinking about Delta Blues, but I'm not thinking about, anything that Robert Johnson particularly played. This is Love in Vain. see if I can post this here. Bingo. Guys, thanks so much for your contributions, your tips. I'm going to play one more song in standard tuning. It's called From 4 Till Late. I was playing for Salt Lake City last night, and I went kind of into depth about these chord changes. If you're interested in learning more, check out the stream from Salt Lake City. I guess it's probably about the halfway point through the show, where I talked about these chords. I'm just going to play it, and then we get to the open tunings. All right, we're going to go to the, here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to change the tuning on my guitar. I'm going to give you a preemptive warning. When I decided to stage a virtual world tour, I thought about the dates. I thought about the technical part. I spent a long time working trying to get the sound good so that the guitar sounded good and you can hear my voice and so it streams well. What I didn't think about was how many strings I had. You could say that I have a pretty good backup supply of strings, but for 17 dates, here's a set of strings that I'm using. For 17 dates, I didn't have 17 sets of them. So my normal practice is to change the strings for every performance so that to minimize the chance I'll break one. But I'm pushing it here because actually I broke one the first night. What was that, Friday? And I changed that and I've left them. So I fully anticipate I could break a string tonight, and there's 2 points when that could happen. Right now is one of those times. So let's cross our fingers. The good news, if I break a string, it's no big deal. I can change strings pretty quickly. But let's see how that goes. What we're doing is we're going to go from standard tuning to open E tuning. Meaning, if I hold, I'll show you before I change. If I hold an E chord, let's see if you guys can see that. There, I'm holding an E chord, right? That's what the strings sound like with the chord on. And without the chord, we get not so bluesy. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune my guitar so it sounds like that chord. And if I break a string, I'll change it. This isn't really the dangerous place. Later on, I'll tune the strings even further up. I'm getting lucky here. Andrew, you think, oh man, I appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you so much. Andrew just said best sound yet, I think. I mean, I'm still tweaking it. Oh, look, I'm behind a truck rental. Why am I here? I don't know. I guess I figured, hey, I'll play some blues for you. But I wouldn't be surprised if we leave this spot. It's kind of an insane visual because I have this like comfortable chair going down the road backward. Here we go. If you ever heard the joke, how can you tell a guitarist is playing out of tune? I'll give you a second to see if you can name the answer. As a matter of fact, if you can type the answer, somebody wants to respond, that'd be awesome. Thank you for your tips. Thanks for listening, primarily. Let's put it, first of all, primarily, thank you for listening. Another thing is, like my friend Lane Cable mentioned, thanks if you invite people to this. I really appreciate that. Also, when I'm done with pieces, I love it when you give me the reactions. That's because there's no applause, right? So when you do reactions, that's like virtual applause. Thank you for that. I see Nick is back. Nick, thank you so much. And Nick was a contributor last night, and I appreciate that. I mean, I have to do something to make money. And what a crazy idea, virtual world tour. But you guys are hooking me up, so thank you for that. I hadn't mentioned this, but I guess I'll mention it now, is that I love doing this, and it's really good for a couple of things. Well, there's the financial part, but there's other aspects of it that are great. One is I know that by playing this set 17 days in a row, that's going to be good for my Delta Blues playing, right? Also, the whole streaming thing, I mean, I'm still learning. Last night, it didn't stream to YouTube because I made a mistake. Is there a person standing in the road there? What are they doing? Getting in the car? Looks like they're getting in the... No? Oh, I think that person is asking for tips. Oh, wow. Both of us are in the middle of the road asking for tips. He's got to get out of my way, though, because here we go. Okay, we're in open E tuning. I'm going to double check it one more time, but first, I'm going to say hello to everyone that I can see here. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Alana. Hello, Nick. Hello, Steve. Ryan. Brian. David Tronzo. Whoa. David Tronzo, if you're still here, please let me know, because David Tronzo, let's say something about slide guitar. David Tronzo has a very modern approach to slide guitar that knocks my socks off. I could start by saying that there are things that Derek Trucks does that are very modern. I should show you. I'm just going to show you before I even play the next piece. This is a thing that I got from Derek Trucks that blows my mind. Right here, if I put the slide at the 5th fret, we get an A chord. But if I hold down a note behind the slide on the G string, I'll get an A minor chord. Let's see how... I can't believe I'm going to do this in front of David Tronzo, because David Tronzo is the most incredible slide guitar player that I've ever seen live. So, you hear that? So, minor, major, minor, major, right? You get how that works. If you don't and you play slide, well, certainly check out David Tronzo. Also check out Derek Trucks. Derek Trucks, the guy I got it from. Anyway, I'm just gonna rattle off all the names I can, and then I'm gonna play Preaching Blues for you. So Andrew, Alana, Steve, Ryan, Brian, David, Nick, another Andrew. There's Andrew McGowan. There's Andrew. Am I saying this right, Andrew? Andrew Bonica. Is that right? Please let me know. Lori, Jen, Michelle, John, Shirley. Shirley's a big fan. I think Shirley, we became friends when I did some stuff for this company, Ortega Guitars. Dennis Fowler. Aram, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Mike, Dave Hatch. Isaac Bustos. When I see Dave Hatch, I think of Frank Murphy, is what I do, because there's a connection there. Jason Haynes is here. Christy Campos. Scott Goulding. Like I said, Steve Snuffa, Jimmy Ward, Michael Kelly, Tony Visconti. He was in here the other night. Shane, thank you guys for your tips. Lori, Melissa McGowan, of course. Zulu. So I'm so sorry. Zulai. What a beautiful name. Zuli. Is it like Julie, but Zuli? You'll have to let me know. Liz Ford, Ken. I'm going to send out one more tip thing. Thank you. Listen, it all adds up. Even if you can send anything you can send in the tips, I really appreciate it. And, I was mentioning this before about doing these virtual world tours. So long as I can make this financially viable, I'll do this again. And I'll hit different cities, and I don't like a 24-hour day at all. Really what I like is a 28-hour day, but it causes all kinds of unforeseen problems. So the 25-hour day is a lot of fun for me. Okay, now we're in open E, and I gave it time to settle. And I'm going to play Preachin' Blues. This is one of my favorites. that tip jar up there again. Pass that around. Oh, looks like I might have to retrieve the tip jar again, but I can do that. Let's do this. Bang, bang, bang. Copy, copy, copy. Paste, paste, paste. Thank you, Ken. Wait, he says he's from... Okay, I got somebody from Delta Blues territory here. Let's see what... Ken Lofton? Am I saying that right? From Greenville, Mississippi. Wow. Wow. So that means a lot coming from you if you like the way it sounds. I love Robert Johnson music. I love Delta Blues. All right. Next piece I'm going to play. Robert Johnson used these accompaniment parts for two different songs. One of them was Ramblin' on My Mind, which he played slide on Ramblin' on My Mind. The other one is Dust My Broom, which he did not play slide on Dust My Broom. Dust My Broom is, it's such a blues standard. It's such an important blues standard. But I've sort of combined these two arrangements, and I'll call this Dust My Broom, even though I use some of Ramblin' on My Mind for some slide parts. Here is Dust My Broom. looks like I have a question. I have one more piece to play in Open E, but I think there's a question. I saw that. Let's see what that question was. I saw. Steven says, "This is what I love most about it." Do I say Kuczynski? Am I saying that right, Steven? Everything else you disagree. That's fine. But are you saying that you like this music? Because I know you don't like all the music that I play, and I play a lot of different types of music. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you guys something. I remember when I first started playing guitar when I was 15 years old, there was two pieces. At one point, there were two pieces that I was focused on. One was Bach's Bourrée in E minor, and the other one was Eruption by Van Halen. And I remember like a Thanksgiving, because you're in like high school, you have a Thanksgiving break kind of. And what happened? I played Eruption for my extended family for Thanksgiving, and they thought it was okay. And then I played Bach's Bourrée in E minor for my friends, and they thought it was okay. And I thought about it a little bit, and then over Christmas, I was still working on those two pieces, and I played Bach's Bourrée in E minor for my family, and they loved it. You were born to be a musician, Stevie. Okay, and then I played Eruption for my friends, and they loved it. Oh, dude, you rock. So I learned something right there. Is by playing one style, I was going to exclude a lot of people. By trying to play all different styles, what can I say? It's a way of being inclusive, I think. I want to be able to reach everybody. Let me see, Steven here. All right. I used to drive and have some crazy blues station on driving to work when I was young. I saw a question, though. I just want to see if... Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Matt. I saw a question. Oh, Steven said, no clue what you're saying, but I'll listen. Oh, Steven, are you saying that the technical stuff about the tunings and stuff that you don't know what that means? I understand that. I'll promise you something, though. As I talk about the technical stuff, I try to make it as accessible as I can. To me, it's pretty interesting stuff about this music, but I'll take what you said here under advisement that, Andrew, you definitely need to, Andrew's asking about what type of slide. Okay, so this is a brass slide. I have this medical tape there that gives me a better fit, a little more control over the slide because my finger's not jumping around in there. I recommend brass. I'll tell you just a really quick story here is glass is cool for electric guitar. It's not as loud though. Okay. So speaking what Stephen was saying, I don't want my explanations to go over people's heads. Let me say this. If you play a guitar string and initially there's a peak, it's very loud, and then it gets quieter, we hear that as having less sustain. When you use a glass slide as opposed to brass, the reason that it sounds like there's more sustain, like Duane Allman, is because the peak is not as loud. So if I pretend this is sound and this is loud and this is quiet, if you use glass, you get something more like this. So it is getting quieter, but it's not so the decay and the sustain are not so much louder than the attack. Does that make sense, Stephen, when I say it like that? Versus brass, the attack is pretty loud, which is good. It's good for acoustic guitar. Anyway, Andrew was asking about what type of slide to use. I'm going to go ahead and recommend brass, and this is the quick story I'll tell you that I'm going to play a tune that doesn't even have a slide in it, is if you get a glass slide, I'm going to phrase it this way because it'll get the point across. If you get a glass slide, play it when you're sober, because I've seen people break glass slides on their fingers and cut their fingers up, and you don't want to do that. I saw that when I was pretty young, like 18 years old, and it had an influence. I love Duane Allman's sound, but usually don't use a glass slide. I think I was traumatized as a kid. Okay, next one up is called Hellhound on My Trail. Long story short, a lot of people think this song is cursed, and Eric Clapton doesn't want to play it because he thinks it's cursed. But whatever. I'll play a curse song. Sure, here you go. This is Hellhound on My Trail. Guys, I see some donations coming in. Thank you so much. If you donate even once, I put you on a list, and then especially like when the tour comes back around, and I'm back in Boston on the tour, right? I'll make sure to tag you, and I really appreciate it. Look, I'm gonna change my tuning now to open A. Stephen was making a good point here. I want this stuff to be accessible for all people. I think it's good if everybody learns something about music, but I'll try to present as much of this in a way that everybody will easily understand. Here's the bottom line. I'm using very heavy strings, and I'm tuning them very tight. That's an effective way. Light strings, that's a modern thing. By the time you get to Jimmy Page, he was using light strings. I think originally he might have been using, say, banjo strings in order to bend the strings more. In the Delta Blues, there's no wide Van Halen bends that are going on, and I think the sound is better with heavy strings. Actually, I prefer heavy strings on all my instruments because they're a little more resonant. With that in mind, if I'm gonna break a string, it's very likely to be now. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower a string. Unlikely I'll break that one. I'm going to raise my B string. It's unlikely I'll break that one. Now I'm going to raise my G string from a G sharp to an A. If you don't know about notes, all that means is I'm going to tighten the string even more. And the first night of the tour, I broke a string at this point. Let's find out. Again, I'm not that worried about it. I was stressed out the first night. I'm like, I'm going to break a string. I'm not worried about that anymore because if I break it, I can fix it. I can fix it fast. But you hear these two notes, they don't sound good together. I'm going to try to make them sound good together without the high note, the high string breaking. Let's see how it goes. good. I'll be in Anchorage, Alaska tomorrow night. And then Honolulu, Hawaii, Wednesday night? Actually, 2 a.m. It's technically Thursday morning. But then there's all this ocean to carry over, so I have a little more time. I'm going to try to get these strings to last until Melbourne, Australia. My friend Maurice that I went to Berkeley with, he's in Australia, so I got to hit him up. He's awesome. Guys, thanks for the tips. I see those coming in. I really appreciate it. You could look at it this way. Basically, if you tip me ever, you're in a special fan club where I'm going to give you information, and I'm going to appreciate you for the rest of my life because you were there when I was starting out on the Virtual World Tour. This is Come On in My Kitchen. Robert Johnson only used these licks for one song ever. Come On in My Kitchen. I'm going to play it for you right now. I see somebody said they're going to tip. Let's see who's saying that. Steve, oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Anything and everything helps. I'm going to shoot out the tip jar again there. I know I posted a lot, but I just, well, there you go. I know I posted a lot. Guys, I'm going to play a couple more in this tuning on this guitar. The next one, is based on the sort of the template is Robert Johnson's only hit during his lifetime, which when I say a hit, it means that it was a song that was, while he was alive, was in jukeboxes. That right there, that's more success than I've ever had. I would love to, the jukeboxes aren't as much a thing now, but I would love to have a song in a jukebox. I was talking about the sort of lyrical content about this last night. So again, if you are interested in that, you could check out towards the end of the show in Salt Lake City, and I get into what's going on with the lyrics here. But this particular accompaniment, Robert Johnson certainly liked it because he used it for a bunch of different songs. I'll tell you what he used it for. He used it for Stones in My Passway. He used it for Milk Cows Calf Blues. He used it in some songs that the Rolling Stones covered, including Walking Blues and Stop Breaking Down. But primarily, I'm basing... Oh, yeah, and there's another one that Eric Clapton is called Crossroads Blues. But I'm basing what I'm doing more on Terraplane Blues than on Crossroads. But like I said, there's a lot of commonality between the tuning and the voicings that Robert liked to use for this. So here, without any further ado, is Terraplane Blues. All right, one more piece on this guitar. I just wanted to mention, because I saw a comment here. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Mike. I saw a comment that Steven made that I'd share. He says he doesn't want to miss anything. So I'm just going to tell you a bunch of things that you could do. If you like what I'm doing or if you like what I do as a musician, first of all, just being here and listening, thank you for that. And then if you follow the tour, if you go to my Facebook page or my website is Steve-Marchena.com, just my name.com. There's an email list where I send out an email every month that has like the top news. I don't send out more than one email a month, though, so I'm not going to spam you. I won't give your name or your email to anybody. So So there's the website with the email list. I also have a YouTube channel. Some of you may be watching this on YouTube right now. If you go ahead and ring the bell, click subscribe. If you're on Facebook, though, if you want to check out, that's youtube.com/Steve-Marchena. Everything is, I say this, Marchena is a Spanish name. And there's not a lot of Steve-Marchenas in the world. So I'm lucky because it's youtube.com/Steve-Marchena, Steve-Marchena.com, Facebook.com/Steve-Marchena. I get to use my name without having to add like a 1 or something, or, Steve-Marchena 1970. No, none of that. Everything is, easy to find is what I'm saying. But Steven, if you want to know more stuff that I'm doing, checking out my website, and on my website, checking out the email list. Okay, 2 more pieces. The next one Robert Johnson used for 2 songs. If I Had Possession over Judgment Day, and a song that caught the ear of Mr. James Patrick Page, which was Traveling Riverside Blues. Guys, thanks a lot for listening. I got one more piece to play for you that is sort of atypical of everything that I played tonight. Now, it's actually still in that open A tuning, just meaning that I've tuned the guitar so it sounds like an A chord. Here, I'll show you. This guitar, steel strings, there's an A chord. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to grab a classical guitar, which is great for playing Bach and Beethoven and Led Zeppelin and Queen and Robert Johnson and everything. Robert Johnson didn't actually play this song that I'm going to play right now, but this is a spiritual, meaning it's a song that slaves in this country sang. And I've arranged it for nylon string guitar with slide. I'm going to put that tip jar out one more time. I see there's still a few of you in here. Really I appreciate you being here to listen, and I also really appreciate your contributions. tomorrow night I'll be performing at midnight Eastern Daylight Time, so for the East Coast, because that corresponds with 8 p.m. in Anchorage, Alaska. The backdrop I have tomorrow night, since you're here, I can let you in on the secret. There's going to be a terrible snowstorm. I'm going to be playing this blues in a terrible snowstorm in Anchorage, Alaska. This is Wake Up Mama. Thank you so much for your, here, I'm going to post it. Last time I'll post it here. Thank you so much for your tips. Anything helps, and, it's, you guys are keeping the music alive, so thank you so much for being here, and thanks for your contributions, and I love you all. This is Wake Up Mama. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Thank you for your contributions. For more information, check out www.steve-marchena.com, youtube.com/Steve-Marchena. There's actually a couple things you can subscribe to there. I have a mailing list. That's all free. You can subscribe to the mailing list on stevemarchena.com. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. You could help me out with that. If you like the music. If you don't like this music, I advise you don't go to my website or my YouTube or my Facebook. But if you do like it, I really appreciate you. You're keeping the dream alive. Everybody, be safe, stay healthy, and please don't protest the quarantine. I just don't get it. I don't get it, man. Listen, I love you. Have a good night.